next to a man called Smil, which is Danish for smile. And Smil had a beautiful, warm greenhouse in which he grew all his plants and everything like that. It was just absolutely gorgeous.
Now that house is gone for sure, sold or something?
Yeah, that's right. And that's right. It's a beautiful house. It's a beautiful island. But when I used to come back to New York, people said, "Is there a good place I could? What would you recommend?" Because I was such a traveler in those days, those years. I said, "I recommend Denmark." And I said, "Anywhere special?" I said, "Yes. Well, go to Svaneke." And very often they'd say, "Desmond, you never told us you lived there."
Because they would go and see you there, or run into
No,
you?
they never came to see me there. No, it's just it is a great place.
And you
But
speak,
after all the things that we had done in New York and all the stuff there,
and you speak the language?
jeg taler fin dansk.
Wow.
Yeah, I speak good Danish.
How did you learn that?
It's a pretty easy language to pick up. Not too many inflections.
Now you have your chair in your hallway there, that special chair that the Queen gave to the, I don't know, some royal family thing. That big famous chair, the big Archie chair that you have.
Right.
What's that story behind that? When did you get that chair? Because didn't the Danish government give that to the United Nations or something, that chair?
Oh, right. Yes, the fan back chair. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yes, yes.
It's okay, I didn't
It's
describe
it's
it
a
well.
it's a yeah. The fan back chair is. I could almost draw it for you. You know, it's
Hold it high, that's good,
yeah.
just like that.
It's the top of the chair goes like that. It's that shape. Then comes a seat, and then four legs, relatively short, and then each spindle is fattened out like a thing. It was if like this, it would be like that. So it would be thick at the top, and it would come
At the
down.
bottom.
Yeah.
And that was an artist chair, was it?
It is, yeah. Well, Hans Wegner is dead now, but was one of the part of the great movement of Finnish artists.
How did you get it?
I bought it. I bought it in. I bought it in New York at an expensive furniture store. It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
I still have it.
And do you think it's worth any money?
I haven't the least doubt it's worth $1,000.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice chair, though.
Yeah, beautiful.
Did you sit in it when you owned it?
Not really. It's not all that. It's not particularly comfortable. It's a beautiful design. It's lovely to look at. I put books on and anything that I'm just as I come in the door, it's right there. And so I need to put something on. I put it there.
So it's more a piece of art than a sitting chair, not very comfortable.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, wait, see, you've lived this sort of storied life where you travel. I mean, you must have been. You're not sitting in $1,000 chairs when you're in Vietnam, right? You're in pretty
No.
basic places, were you?
Right.
Did you live in tents with the soldiers ever?
Yes. Yeah, I did. Yeah. They've well, of course, if you can imagine, if you could walk with me through through a typical day. A day would start where well, we all had military uniforms,
Right.
but it said on the column, correspondent, on either side of the epaulette here, right here. And it also said on the back your name, and so that would be pretty good if something happened to you.
Right. And so, did you have a flak jacket as well?
That's what they called it, a flak jacket. That has metal.
Oops. Just need to reclip that on there.
Yeah, so I can get it.
There you go. It's the other way. Here, there you go.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Are you too hot? Or are you doing all right?
Yeah, so, I'll be okay.
Just flip it straight in. That's it.
Is it?
Just like that, and then clip it on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's it.
So working.
Beautiful.
Right.
Adding a bit of sound effects there for your
Let me
Here,
see,
I'll
just
hide
have
it
a
for
wipe
you.
here.
Yeah, there you go. Just take a minute. Take some
Yeah,
water there.
yeah.
I'll hide this.
How's it going, Gary?
It's going very well. It's excellent, Desmond. So Vietnam, like you were living in the hotel, were you?
Yeah, we lived in the Hotel Caravel. It's a beautiful hotel.
Really?
Right, I'll repeat that again. We lived in the Hotel Caravel, which is a pretty nice hotel. And we had our bureau there.
Huh.
So our bureau was on the 11th floor.
In one of the rooms.
Pardon?
In one of the hotel rooms.
Right.
Was there security getting in and out of that building?
Yeah, well, there was. Well, I'll tell you the security. When you came back at night, the glass windows, the glass doors, huge glass doors, and then it was 3 marble steps leading up to another platform, and then 3 more marble steps, and then you were in the hotel. But at night, the glass doors were locked, and you had to knock. Sleeping on the steps was an Indian with an Indian wearing a turban and a very, very large gun.
Huh.
So, of course, he knew the correspondence. If you were a bad guy, you wouldn't have a chance.
Well, he'd be sleeping. You'd just shoot him through the glass.
He would be, yeah, well, he would, or just the sight of him, a gun, and the man we never got robbed there.
No, it was a good place.
No, it was a great place.
So when you were in Vietnam, so did you go out with the guys in the helicopters?
Yeah, yeah. In a way, I wouldn't say war is fun, but it's certainly fun to fly in a chopper. When they get you there pretty fast, the doors are open. It's totally different to flying in civilian life.
Mm-hmm.
The doors on both sides of the chopper are open. I think we can.
The whole time.
Yeah, the whole time, and you can feel the wind. You're flying to get wherever we were going. We were always flying to what we call landing zones, LZs. So, and they all had numbers: LZ Able, LZ Charlie, and we'd we'd land, and then but they would hover down till we were about, I'd say about 10 feet or 15 feet from the floor. Then they dropped a rope ladder from the platform, from the door, between the doors. The rope ladder would go down, and then you'd throw your luggage out, and then you'd walk down.
Why wouldn't they land the helicopter?
Because it's they were so busy. Really, they had to go and get somebody else.
But that was just too much hassle to put it right on the ground?
Yeah, yeah.
Or were they afraid of landmines or anything like that?
No. It's a safe zone.
A safe zone.
It's just the way they operated.
So when you were, did you have a helmet and everything too? You
Yeah.
looked like a soldier?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so you jumped out of the plane with everybody, out of the helicopter with everybody else?
Right.
Did you ever see battle when you were with any of them?
I saw lots of battles.
Under fire?
Yeah.
Did you ever fear for your life?
Yeah, but in a way, there's so much adrenaline going through your body when you're in those circumstances that it's not something you dwell on. You don't forget, in front of you were either Marines or hardened troops, certainly. Yeah. Marines were the best. You know, we had a pecking order. Like Marines were the best, and the American Army Labor Corps, who did the pick up muck and dirt and so on, were probably the worst. But with the Marines, you definitely felt very safe and strong.
They were very good.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you ever see anybody shot?
Oh, I've seen. I've never seen. I can't say I've seen anyone shot, but I've seen many casualties. Yeah. We'd often come back with casualties, and they'd come back in a helicopter that was a medevac.
Would you ever ride with them?
Yeah, we'd ride with them, and they would inside the chopper. They were 6 high, 5 or 6 high, and they put the stretcher right in with the person on it. There'd always be a doctor or a medical person there. The journey was never very long, from the place of action, to the landing zone where we're going, to the base, would be maybe half an hour. But on other occasions, it could be as long as an hour. At that time, when coming back, you fly at 6,000 feet because you don't want to get, that's a decent range that very few guns can get you.
And is that were the doors open then?
Yeah, with the doors open.
And
it's breezy, but
it must have been awful with all those guys dying around you, getting shot. Was it really?
But they're sedated, Gary.
Oh, they're sedated.
Yeah, and they have somebody there, a doctor or a nurse.
A medical corps person.
One thing though, one very unusual thing that would be different today, is it was strictly a male war. There were very, very few women. Now there were women in World War II that I remember, but they always did things like driving the car, like the Queen, the Queen of England. She was a driver, an ambulance driver. She had a really important job, a big job, really.
So you didn't see many women in Vietnam?
Well, there were two kinds of women, right? The women in the army, but none of them had weapons. They were nurses or clerks, or a lot of them. Some of them rose to fairly high rank, but never combat. Unlike the Russian army or other armies, they just were not in battle.
You said there's two kinds of women.
Well, the women were on the nursing side, and the women who are sort of back of the unit, so to speak.
Administrative, that kind of stuff, right? Paperwork. So if you got discharged, it was probably clerical people doing that?
Right.
So those folks are well behind. They're probably back in Saigon, are they?
Correct. No, that's right. They were in safe quarters in Saigon. I mean, if you could call it safe, because as you know, on one epic occasion, in which I just can't think of the Canadian who did it, but Don North, a very, very good correspondent with me, also a Canadian. Don heard the firing. Don was and is a very, very quick and out-of-the-door correspondent. And there are several kinds of correspondents. They're the cerebral, each one have the same quality, but in different orders. Don is a guy who loves to get into action, no matter what the danger. Others, like myself, would like to go after the action's over, or not while the action, when it's a period of high danger. Of course, the fact of the matter is, you don't know. You just have to. It's a luck of the draw in the end. It's a luck of the draw what you get.
So you had friends killed in Vietnam, I assume?
Pardon?
You had friends killed in Vietnam?
I had several. I had several friends who lost their lives there.
And then Vietnam, is that, you said your life seems to be all about war. Was that the most significant war for you in your life?
Not really, because the war that was most significant was when I was growing up, and in 1944, or rather 1939. I can remember that very vividly. It was a Sunday. We were having dinner in Britain in those years. Roast beef and Yorkshire pudding.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember vividly.
What were you drinking?
I think we would drink water. My father was teetotal. They drank nothing really, water. But that day when Neville Chamberlain was the Prime Minister of Britain, not a very effective one, but he was the person who declared war, and would soon be overtaken by Winston Churchill, who led the war and was part of the victory team that consisted of himself and the American president.
But it was the war that you grew up through that was the most significant in your life.
It was.
Because you were part of it, whereas when you were in Vietnam, you were an observer. Is that kind of the difference?
I was part of the Vietnam War in the sense that we were covering battles, but the battle of Britain, actually for Britain really, for Britain's survival, that was in my immediate neighborhood, and on the to see the houses on fire. To hear the German planes coming night after night during what was called the Blitzkrieg, German words for a flash-hired attack, was absolutely terrifying. On the other hand, there's a side to childhood. I was 9.